Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back another video day. And today, the Houston Astros lost to the Detroit Tigers 5-2 and were eliminated. Yeah, this was a fun one, being sarcastic. I'm gonna get right into it. It's and be honest, it's 2 a.m. and I'm making this video mainly because of the fact that this took me some time to want to talk about. But, I've been covering the Astros all season. I've been supporting them and, you know, hopeful and positive through the bad times. So I just felt like I couldn't not, I could not make this post game, not talk about this final game. I've talked when it was 12-24, when it was 33-40. Look, there have been times where I haven't talked about every game, but I mainly was doing post games, recapping every single game throughout the bad stretch of the season, the first 73 games. When they started to bounce back after those first 73 games, was there to talk about most of that. And I just felt like there was no way I couldn't, talk about this final game of the season because this was a whirlwind of a season. It really was. It had its ups. It had its downs. Then it went right back down. It went right back up. I mean, this was a crazy season. And I'm going to start off by saying this. I have some Astros fans that, come on this channel that are very supportive. They're great fans. You guys are great fans. But I also have some fans that are very negative. And I just want to say, if you're coming in here thinking about saying anything negative about this team, just leave. Please. I'm proud of this team. I said going into this series, I made a wild card preview. This is the last video I updated 2 days ago. And I said, I don't care if they lose this series. God forbid, I don't care if they get swept, which they did. I am proud of this team. I'm proud that they're in this situation, that they're in the playoffs, in the wild card. They are lucky. I'm sorry, not they are lucky. We are lucky. We are lucky that we get to watch this team play in the playoffs in the first place when we just saw a team months and months ago that was 12-24, that was a brandly 33-40, losing to one of the worst teams ever to play the game of baseball in the Chicago White Sox. If you guys remember, the Astros lost to the White Sox. That's when they went to 33-40, and this was right before the Astros went on a crazy run. And things looked terrible. Fans were giving up on this team. We as fans are lucky that they were even in the wild card. That we hear fans and everybody talking about, oh, I'm so sad that the ALCS streak is going to end. Well, I mean, we're lucky the playoff streak didn't end in general. The Astros made it to the postseason, which I don't think a lot of Astros fans thought at the point of being 12-24 or 33-40, just losing to the White Sox. There was a lot of negativity for the Astros. I'm not going to lie. I believed in this team when they were 12-24. I also won't lie, when it was 33-40 and they had just lost to the White Sox, I was starting to lose a little bit of hope. I knew that there was a chance that they could definitely, get their crap together and turn things around. I was more hopeful at 12-24 than I was 33-40, but I still believed. Not as much as I believed at 12-24, but anyways, we are so lucky that this team gave us the run that they made. I mean, this team, I just looked up the stats. I think this team, from the point of being 12-24, they finished the season, I think it was 76 and something. It was 76-40 something. I think it was like 76-45, or 76 and maybe it was 76-43. I'm not sure. It was 76-40 something. But to have that, in the last 100 or whatever games it was, to have them play baseball like that, I mean, we watched a good season. And we watched the team at times with how injured they were, that they were lucky to be in this postseason. They were lucky to be going up against a team in general. I mean, because at times they looked like they could have been one of the other 18 teams that didn't even get to play in the postseason. So I am proud as an Astros fan. I think all Astros fans should be proud of this team, and you shouldn't be angry as an Astros fan. You should be upset about the way they played. You don't have to be happy about it. I'm not happy about the way they played in these last two games. I wish things were different, but I'm at the end as a fan that has got to watch this team win so many different times. I've watched this team win 2 World Series, even if one wasn't legitimate. I have watched this team go to 7 straight ALCS trips. And I've seen some great regular season moments. I've seen some great walk-offs. I've been to some Astros games and experienced some great things. I've experienced multiple walk-offs at an Astros game and home runs. I've experienced a lot over these last 7 years. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, no matter what happens this offseason, the Astros are going to remain competitive. And if they get more healthy next season and they don't have the start they had next year like they did this year, the Astros will be more dangerous next year than they were this year. I'm telling you guys that right now. So to think that the dynasty is over, absolutely not. I'm not gonna say that, because the Astros are gonna be more healthy next year. Because you're gonna get Luis Garcia back. I mean, guys, remember Jordan Alvarez wasn't healthy in this series. Taylor Scott, one of our dangerous bullpen pitchers, is injured. So many guys injured. Kendall Graveman's injured. The Astros are likely to re-sign him. So many guys injured. So many guys injured throughout the regular season. Tucker missed so much time. I don't know what happens with Bregman. I think the Astros re-sign Yusei, though. I think the Astros are still a good baseball team next year. Just because they lose in the wild card doesn't mean that they're not going to be a good baseball team. Sure, it means the streak is over, but I believe the Astros will begin a new streak. It will be hard next year in the playoffs if the Astros can get there, as I believe they will, because you have young teams like the Royals and the Orioles, who are just going to continue to get better. The Guardians as well, I think, will just continue to get better. The Yankees, I think, will just remain there as well. If they are able to re-sign Soto, so the Astros they're gonna still be up in they're still gonna be up there next year with the top teams in the AL, if you ask me. With everything they faced this year, with the injuries and the tough start, if they play the way they did in the last 126 games of the regular season for the entire season next year, and can get some key guys back that were injured this year, they're going to be the same baseball team, if not a little bit better next year, whether Bregman stays or leaves. So Astros fans, remain positive. I mean, it's a tough loss, but they'll be back. I'm telling you guys, they'll be back. But this hurts, of course. And let's go over what happened in this game. It was a tough game for sure. Astros lose 5-2. Josh Hader and Presley, were terrible in that 8th inning. 5-2's final score. 7 hits for the Tigers, 5 for the Astros. I'm going to defend the Astros pitching in these 2 games. I mean, in the postseason, 8 runs in 2 games. It's not amazing, but it's the postseason. And you're going up against one of the hottest teams in baseball recently. I know they gave up 5 runs to the Tigers in this game, but the pitching throughout most of this game was pretty good. Hunter Brown was great in the 6 innings he pitched. Brian Abreu, did have some trouble giving up a walk, but outside of that, was able to get 4 outs and, only gave up a walk, had multiple strikeouts. The only problem that came was when, Ryan Presley came in, and I hate to put the blame on Presley, and I know a lot of people were upset about Josh Hader since he's, he's making so much money, but in reality, I think this is Presley's fault. If you ask me, I'm sorry. I mean, I love Ryan Presley. I think he has done some great things for this Astros team. He's been with this team for 6 seasons now, or 6 full seasons, and absolutely love Ryan Presley. But I think the blame should go more to Presley than Hader. I know he gave up the big hit to Ibanez that scored 3 runs, of course, for sure. But why were those runners on base? It was because of Ryan Presley. He gave up 2 hits. He gave up 1 walk in that inning that led to, the huge, terrible, the terrible 8th inning. His wild pitch was the reason why they tied the game in the 8th inning. He threw the wild pitch that tied the game. He gave up 2 hits. He gave up a walk. All the earned runs, 2 of the earned runs on the hit that Hader gave up were because of Presley. The only earned run, the only problem that Hader had in that inning was he came in, he gave up a walk, and he gave that hit to Ibanez. Meanwhile, Presley, he threw a wild pitch that scored a run. He gave up 2 hits. He gave up a walk. From the runners that got on base because of those hits ended up scoring, because Hader had so much pressure on him. So, yeah, it was bad for Presley. It was really bad. And I'm not saying it was fine for Josh Hader. I'm saying Josh Hader was terrific in this outing because he wasn't good. I mean, he gave up 3 hits and 4 outs, gave up an earned run, gave up 2 walks. I'm not saying things were good for Josh Hader. Things were definitely not good for him. But I thought Presley was a bigger reason why the Astros lost this game than Josh Hader. That's just my opinion. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comment section about that. But Presley got the loss. Win went to Gunther. He's 1-0 on the year now, 1 2/3. He gave it 0 hits, 0 earned runs, 0 strikeouts, 0 walks. Tough part about this game was this was a bullpen day for the Tigers, and that the Astros have kind of had at times tough times going up against teams that have a bullpen day, but you don't know what's coming. You don't. I mean that's the interesting thing about the Tigers that people say. I mean you don't know. You have no idea when who's going to be pitching, what they're going to be doing, and I don't think that will be very successful against this Guardians offense that we're about to see face off against the Tigers. But take your hat off for them. They did a good job. But honestly, I think the big reason they won this series was because of Tarek Skubal. Man, was he terrific yesterday. Let's go over the scoring summary. Parco Meadows hit a home run in the 6th inning. That was his only hit in 5 at-bats. That was the only thing he did today to make it 1-0. Then the 7th inning, John Singleton hit a ground out. Hit a ground out into it was a fielder's choice to first. Caratini scored on the error. Dubon to second. Pena to third. It's 1-1. The 7th inning, Jose Altuve hit a sac fly. Pena with great speed scores. Dubon to third. It's 2-1. 8th inning, here's Presley's wild pitch. Carpenter scores on the wild pitch. It's 2-2. And then Ibanez with the 3-run RBI double. He gets the third off of the double. It's 5-2. All right, Astros hitters. Altuve was not so good in these last 2 games. He did have a RBI sac fly in this game, but went 1 for 4 yesterday, went 0 for 3 today, so 1 for 7 for the amazing playoff hitter, Jose Altuve. One of Jose Altuve's worst postseasons, even though it's a very short time, since 2020. Kyle Tucker, talk about players with bad postseasons. Kyle Tucker, 0 for 3, had a walk in the 3rd. Tucker has been terrible in his last, 13 playoff games? 11 playoff games last year against the Twins and the Rangers, absolutely terrible. 2 games against the Tigers, absolutely terrible. This might be a hot take. This might, upset some Astros fans. But with the questions of who you're going to pay, whether it's Bregman and Tucker, when Tucker can't hit in the postseason, it definitely makes me as an Astros fan kind of want Bregman more than Tucker, knowing Bregman gets the job done in the postseason. Bregman hit well, hit better than any of, or really hit better than any of these Astros hitters in these two games. And has always been very productive for the Astros in the playoffs. And there have been times where Tucker's been pretty productive for the Astros. He was pretty solid in 2022 during the World Series run. Did a good job. 2021 was pretty good too. So he's had his good postseasons, but these last 2 years, Tucker has been really good in the regular season, but has just absolutely been terrible when it comes to the postseason. But meanwhile, Bregman has always got the job done in the postseason. And guess who's cheaper compared to the two? Bregman and Tucker? Bregman is a cheaper man. I'd love to see both of these guys back, but honestly, when it matters most, it's the postseason. And if they're gonna re-sign one and get rid of the other, I love Tucker, but it makes me kind of want Bregman more, knowing when the playoffs matters. Bregman gets it done, and Tucker hasn't these last couple years. The Astros might want to think about that before letting Bregman walk this offseason. All right, Alvarez 0 for 3, sixth inning walk. I mean, he was good yesterday, had a couple hits yesterday, which was amazing. I want to keep in mind, everybody, I mean, this guy is not healthy at all. It was awesome that he was able to go out there and, try for this team. Love Jordan. Bregman went 1 for 4, hit a single to left in his first at-bat. I'll say the weird thing about that single for Bregman is, the Tigers had in the first inning, they had, I believe it's Tyler Holton. I believe his first name's Tyler. Holton is his last name. They had Holton pitching in the first inning, and he pitched the first inning, got a strikeout. I think he struck out he struck out Tucker. Altuve had a ground out. Alvarez, I don't know what happened for Alvarez. Alvarez grounded out to second. Had this great first inning. And I know it's a bullpen day. You don't have to, keep him in the game. He's not a starter. But I have no idea why AJ Hinch, who knows Alex Bregman so well, didn't keep Tyler Holton in for that for that first out of the first inning, in the second inning, and face Alex Bregman. Instead, he brings in the righty Hannafy, who was pretty good in the almost 2 innings he pitched, to go up against Bregman. If you don't know, Holton is a lefty, Hannafy is a righty. This season, Bregman has been terrible against left-handed pitchers. Absolutely terrible. Well, he hasn't been terrible, but if you compare his numbers against righties to lefties, he is amazing against righties and terrible against lefties. This season, he bat .224 against lefties, .274 against righties. What does AJ Hinch do? I thought a bad coaching decision. Takes out Holton, the lefty, brings in Hannafy, the righty. What happens for Bregman? Single to left. I know the Tigers won this game, but decisions like that going into, the ALDS will cause you to lose games. I mean, especially if you're going to be doing, a bullpen day. I thought AJ Hinch was pretty good with managing in this game outside of that decision, which led to Bregman's single. Although the Astros still lost this game, but I thought that was crazy. But outside of that single to left, Bregman had a couple really hard hit balls in the 4th and 6th, a fly out to center, a line out to left. Hit the ball well, made some nice contact in his middle at bats. But then his last at bat in the 8th was a ground out to third. That last at bat for Bregman, which could be his last at bat as a Houston Astro, I think was more of a desperation at bat. Like, let me try to get a base hit. I'm going to force this. And, it was just a ground out to third. All right, Diaz, they're going 1 for 4 with an RBI yesterday. Another 1 for 4 day. No RBI, though. Single to center in the 4th. But he did ground into a double play in the 6th, which really hurt the Astros. Caratini 0 for 2. Scored a run in this game. Was hit by pitch a couple times in the 4th and 7th. Both were, first time he was hit, he was batting right-handed. Then he was batting left-handed in the second time. So, got hit on both sides today. But he struck out in his last at-bat. Playing first base, of course, today, though. All right, Jeremy Pena, 1 for 3. Jeremy actually looked better in this game. Actually looked better. The fourth inning was obviously terrible with a double play, but the second inning he started off the day with a walk. Seventh inning, he singled to center. Caratini to second, which was a part of the rally in the seventh inning. He scored a run off a great base running off of a Jose Altuve flyout, which was a very weak flyout, so it wasn't that deep. I mean, I don't think a lot of players are going to score from third on a flyout like that. But Jeremy Pena, with his speed, he was able to. And then his last at bat, a very nice fly out to center, but an amazing catch by the center fielder, Parker Meadows. Absolutely amazing catch by Meadows. I mean, it was very close to seeing a second hit for Jeremy, getting a double, which would have been huge for the Astros in that ninth inning. But instead, we see a 1-for-3 day for Jeremy with a walk and scoring a run. But he could have had his second hit right there and could have started a rally for the Astros in the ninth, because that was the second out. The fly out for Jeremy was the second out of the ninth inning. Jason Hayward, one at bat, second inning, struck out swinging. He had a great second inning at bat. Really fought well to try to get something with some runners on base. Just couldn't get the job done. And then we saw Joe Espada make a good move, bringing in Mauricio Dubon, and he had some really good at-bats. Fifth inning single to left, beautiful base hit for Dubon, and then a really nice bunt single for Dubon in the seventh to load the bases up, getting Caratini to third and Pena to second, which then would lead to 2 runs for the Astros. Jasper McCormick went 0 for 2 today with a couple ground outs. He was replaced by John Singleton, who had an RBI, fielder's choice. Jake Myers would be a pinch runner in this game for John Singleton, which was a good decision. John not having great speed, don't want to have him in there at first. So they bring in Jake. He played some center field, and that was it for the hitters. Hunter Brown went 5 2/3, gave up 2 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 9 strikeouts. Man, was he electric. And I thought with this outing for Hunter Brown going into next season, if we still see the following pitchers, Hunter Brown, Framber Valdez, Yusei Kikuchi, and Reynel Blanco, and Luis Garcia, back for the Astros, if we see all those 5 pitchers, on the Astros rotation, the number one guy, in my opinion, we'll see how people feel about this, should be Hunter Brown, if you ask me. I think Hunter Brown, with what he showed at the end of the year, after the terrible start, with the way he showed how he can pitch in the postseason, if you bring back Yusei, Framber Valdez doesn't get traded, we don't see, let's just say we don't see Reynel Blanco go anywhere, which I don't think that's going to happen anyways, and we see Luis Garcia back healthy, the number one guy, in my opinion, in this rotation is Hunter Brown. He's electric, and he's really started to show the guy that we all expected coming in, and man, was he fun to watch in the second half. Brian Abreu was good, like I mentioned. Presley and Hader, you all of you know what happened there. I'm not done with the Astros on my channel. We're gonna be going through off-season stuff, but as of for talking about games, this is it. This was a great season. I want to thank everybody that was here through the good and the bad, supporting the Astros and me. And I had a great time covering and talking about this team this year through the bad and the good and whatever was in the middle, because there was some stuff in the middle too. But sad to see it end. But we're lucky. We were lucky to see them at that in the spot they were in. And, we know they'll be back. They'll be back. Let me know your thoughts on the Astros losing 5-2. Want you guys to stay positive. I don't ask that a lot, but with a loss like this, I know a lot of people are freaking out. I know Astros social media sometimes can be toxic when things are bad. So I don't ask for fans to be positive all the time, but this time I will. Let me know your thoughts. That's it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace out. Go Astros.